And one of the recent crazier pushes has been that we ought to feel bad for people that are breaking the law. We should understand why they have to break the law.
A Cook County court has reversed some of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decisions. At last night's village board meeting, Henyard announced a 30-day temporary appointments for police chief, village attorney, special counsel, and executive assistant.
They get right back to work trying to make people feel sad for people that are going to be victimized.
In a recent online segment, Candace Owens, a political analyst, purportedly attacked Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, accusing her of blackmailing her own citizens to maintain her position. Owens, renowned for her frank critique of numerous political figures, launched an attack on Henyard, accusing her of corruption and unethical behavior that has caused Dalton people to feel constrained and stifled. Owens was unrestrained in her criticism, exposing what she describes as Henyard's dishonest tactics and dishonest behavior aimed at those who doubt her leadership.
So this is what happens everywhere in the entire world when your parents break the law. It's actually quite audacious to be willing to appear on camera and to ask for sympathy after your...
Henyard has allegedly been harassing and blackmailing locals by threatening to prevent them from receiving municipal services or support until they agree with her leadership choices or abstain from publicly criticizing her. In particular, Owen criticized Henyard for allegedly using intimidation to control inhabitants and muzzle opponents. Owens claimed that Henry procedures are a serious ethical transgression and go considerably beyond the idea that political strategizing is more like the misuse of power. Owens referenced recent testimonies from people in the Dalton community who claimed they were pressured to keep quiet about issues within the advertisement. Owens, who criticized Henyard's alleged strategy, said that a leader who feels the need to blackmail her supporters is not a leader at all. She has been involved in scandals before, with accusations of corruption and lawsuits against her administration mounting. According to Owens, her leadership in Dalton has frequently come under fire, and these conflicts point to a larger pattern of misbehavior. Henyard has repeatedly shown that she is willing to cross moral boundaries in order to maintain her position of authority.
Henyard's appointment of Michael Smith as executive assistant was not valid.
Dalton trustees and community leaders claim that the Henyard administration has attempted to marginalize anyone who questions her authority or motivations in her statements by using intimidation tactics. Owens was furious at what appeared to be a lapse in Henyard's administration and scolded local officials for their slow response, urged the residents of Dalton to oppose what she saw as local tyranny and to investigate Henyard's purported extortion tactics. The people need leaders who work for them, not against them, and this corruption needs to be eliminated. Owens called for an investigation immediately and warned that if the claims are proven true, there might be serious legal repercussions. In addition, some residents feel encouraged to criticize the Henyard administration after finding resonance in Owens' harsh comments. Some claim that Owens' comments are too severe or lack sufficient evidence, while supporters of Henyard contend that the mayor has been unjustly blamed for enforcing stringent regulations.
Works in South Suburban Dalton at the village board meeting tonight. Embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard spoke out after public comments addressing respect in the meeting.
You have to give respect and work. A lot of you come to this mic talking about nothing. And when I say nothing, you're talking about Tiffany Henyard. So that means that you really are fans of mine, and I appreciate that. Because normally you will come up here and you'll talk about the business as relates to our village. But not one of you talk about any business that it relates to.
However, Owens' comments support the complaints of people who feel ignored or pressured by the Henyard administration. Social media responses quickly erupted, with many residents calling for him. Some residents even suggest that Henyard tilt down in light of spreading blackmail charges and the extra scrutiny of a well-known pundit in order to promote accountability and transparency through an unbiased investigation into the claims. The administration is anticipated to face further public and media criticism in the coming weeks as a result of Candace Owens' inflammatory remarks, which further exacerbate the already heated political climate in Dalton.
Again, this is me saying it publicly to our new president of the United States. Just like Trump, I'm going to come in on a landslide on both seats. Know that. Remember this moment when I landslide and come in for the...
Naturally, replies to the 47th president are pouring in from all sides, including the typical political critiques and comments. Henyard shared her thoughts on the topic on the internet approximately an hour ago. Before we look more closely at it, I'd like to give her comment here. Congrats, Henyard stated that she added to her fans, "Let's put our differences aside and work together." Don't worry, we'll get back to that expression, Trump. You have made history by returning and becoming the 47th president of the United States. This is a huge comeback, and now that he is in office, we must cooperate to put aside our differences and focus on the future. All right, this is crazy, but let's talk about Tiffany Henyard's post, in which she boldly congratulates President Trump on social media. Speaking loudly and ostentatiously, almost tripping over herself to pray and thank him, she is also discussing unity, teamwork, and letting go of the past, as though everyone should forget her history. Her behavior has abruptly changed to one of cooperation and putting aside disputes. I'd like to meet with you to talk about the Thorne Township residents after Henyard appointed President Trump as the town's supervisor and mayor. Township. Let's make America great again. I have a lot of incredible ideas, and I think we can work together for the greater good. I also sent you a message. Please check your inbox. This is pretty amazing. Usually when Democrats or Republicans lose an election, they post a formal, usually dry, congratulations message mentioning unity. But this time Trump dominated the election in a way that unexpected. I honestly thought it would be a close race with results that might not be known for days, but by 2 o'clock, Ming had declared his victory, which shocked me because his dominance was greater than anyone had expected, especially with Kamala Harris as the opposition. Let's face it, she was a very weak candidate, and even many Democrats would agree that it's no. It's surprising that some staunch Democrats are upset, but the truth is that Kamala lacked the strength to persevere. Tiffany Henyard is now stepping up and telling Trump, "I'm here ready to support you, so congrats." Let's talk about why she did that. For anyone who knows her history in Dalton Township, the Unity Act is as weak as it gets. Just consider it. Where was this commitment to unity when dealing with? There is a meeting at the Park District today. Will Tiffany attend, or will she just bring up more issues? Her own trustees are back in Dalton. When was the last time that town and Thorne Township actually held a truly productive meeting? Either people are meeting separately and leaving early, or the mayor doesn't even show up. When it works for her, when it enhances her image, or when something is on the line about why she appears to have an agree with me or leave stance when it comes to cooperation, which is why she is the subject of multiple lawsuits. She has a reputation for suppressing any criticism and tends to go out of her way to make life unpleasant for anyone who disagrees with her. Unity is doubtful because Tiffany cannot even imagine being in the same room as her own trustees, even if they dare to carry out their duties. If someone could check her recent comments, it would be interesting. She seems to be a Democrat until she says, "Wait, I might need this guy." The timing of this post really sums it up. She is throwing Trump in his direction in a desperate manner, especially if it means challenging her. I don't remember her saying anything positive about him until she realizes she might be in a difficult situation. Investigated by the federal government and possibly facing criminal charges, she suddenly talks about working with President Trump. She's practically saying, "Look at me, Mr. Trump, I agree." She is probably trying to project loyalty in the hopes that he will see her as more than just another Democratic mayor.
First, some of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decisions. At last night's village board meeting, Henyard announced a 30-day temporary appointments for police chief, village attorney, special...
The real irony, however, is that despite her claims of working with Trump, we cannot deny that Tiffany Henyard, who can't even get along with her own trustees, has a leadership style that is anything but transparent. She may not like openness, but it's clear that she's looking for any assistance she can get and is depending on Trump's ego to be big enough to recognize her. Collaborative when she talks about finding common ground with Trump or reaching across the aisle, it comes across as completely insincere. It's as if she's donning a costume for social media. banking on everyone being too preoccupied. Those who followed her are aware that she operates as a one-person show and confronts anyone who dares to disagree. To recall how she actually went home, first and foremost, Tiffany seems to be devoted to herself. She probably believes that if she ever finds herself in difficulty, such as a federal indictment, siding with him could result in a potential pardon later. She was all for Biden screaming his praises, but now that Biden's influence is declining, she's altering her course, and then abruptly co-signing up to Trump is likely a calculated move, as she is hedging her bets in the hopes that a few complimentary remarks about him on social media could be helpful if she ever needs him. She is also waving a unity flag, but this is merely to attract Trump's attention in the hopes that he will give her a lifeline if things get difficult. Anyone who pays careful attention can tell that it's a desperate attempt by a politician who is in a precarious position to salvage himself with a well-placed compliment, not a genuine plea for cooperation.
There is more high drama in the village of Dalton tonight, where embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard is trying to get down to business.
That includes spending issues and a controversial move to try to appoint a police chief. NBC5's Randy Gyllenhaal with our story tonight.
You were terribly incorrect from the start if you were expecting anything resembling order, democracy, or even a simple public forum. It was clear that this would degenerate into anarchy. So let's explore the mayhem that transpired throughout this disastrous supervisory event. The others were merely spectators to what might have happened, with Tiffany Henyard serving as the misguided ringleader. Henyard, who values loyalty and cars, went to great lengths to keep Carlisle from entering the meeting, effectively shutting her out and making the experience as painful as possible. Henyard faces security and pricing issues, but instead of reevaluating the cost, he chose to keep him around. This could have easily been a scene from a middle school drama, but she doesn't see it that way. Rather, she views it as an opportunity to assume leadership, even if it means putting a township representative on the defensive. As you can see later in the movie, Henyard is ratcheting up her message that if you're not with her, be prepared to be sidelined, since Keith Price, an elected trustee, lacks such authority. This isn't true leadership. It's just more of the petty behavior we've come to expect. She talks into her own echo chamber and shouts her own praises for a considerable amount of time. Trustee Gonzalez chose to leave rather than endure what he saw as a chaotic board meeting that Henyard was attempting to disguise as productive. Instead, she exploited the circumstance to boost her own ego and avoid admitting her coworkers' frustration, turning Gonzalez's departure into yet another. We had approved a forensic audit for Thorne Township, but unfortunately, Chris Gonzalez vetoed it. This is another purported personal assault in which she positions herself as the lone individual advocating for the people's interests. It's important that you understand that this audit was done specifically for the credit card that trustees Keith Freeman and Carl used. Additionally, the IT department should be held responsible for Gonzalez's shameful departure when election season rolls around. Keep in mind how he treated Carol and how he tried to paint Gonzalez as someone who abandoned the community to avoid his responsibilities. That the company that would conduct it is currently up for approval. In actuality, Gonzalez had grown tired of participating in Henyard's autocratic rule and the mayhem it caused. Robert's rules of order were meant to be the cornerstone of any public gathering, ensuring that all opinions are heard and that fair discussion takes place. However, it appears that Henyard skipped over them, threw them away, and chose to improvise instead. Every time a motion is made, Henyard either completely blocks it or breezes through it, so it's unclear if she even reads them, based on how well it serves her agenda without permitting any discussion. If a motion bothers her, she ignores it. If she is in favor of it, she forces it through as if she is the only authority and expects everyone to obey her.
All right, guys, you're not gonna get a statement if you're out of order. Simple as that. So, okay, it's over with. Y'all can have a seat.
It seemed as though Henyard was trying to position herself as the misunderstood hero in a political drama that promoted the story of the lone fighter, despite the fact that she was on a TI rad. And if you've heard her talk for a while, you're probably familiar with the routine. which lasted for nearly an hour and was more about her unfiltered reality TV style tirade about being the only one who genuinely cares while everyone else is only interested in themselves, stealing, exploiting, you name it. She claims that the $2.2 million tax fund she is approving for Thorne homeowners is paid for by taxpayer funds that were originally owned by the people. As she begins her monologue, she implies that this is a political ploy to secure her re-election. She goes further and accuses anyone who left the meeting or disagreement as being a member of an unnamed hate group or causing chaos. Whether it's overgrown matters or the township residents are just tired of her, her behavior is what makes these gatherings chaotic, even though these folks are the ones instigating trouble. The community didn't sign up for this kind of antics. They want true leadership, not a manager who takes every argument personally. As for Trustee Carol, it's uncertain what she will do, but she has to carry out her responsibilities as a trustee. Her lengthy list of alleged achievements looks more like a finger-pointing exercise as she is in command, but when she doesn't place blame, she is playing the victim and puts everyone under the bus: board members, residents, and even the media, blaming them of damaging Dent Township's reputation. The person who has helped Tiffany Henyard through all of the challenges is Keith Price. In the meantime, Tiffany Henyard critically examines Candace Owens' critique of Mater and the political dynamics of Dalton, Illinois, who draws attention to purported cases of intimidation, abuse of authority, and manipulation under Henyard's direction. Owens accuses Henyard of threatening citizens with withholding services to quell criticism, characterizing her strategy as one that prioritizes power above democratic processes. The statement implies that Henyard's recent public cooperation initiatives, especially her overt support of Trump, are less about actual unity and more about self-preservation in the face of potential legal problems. Owens is crucial. Critics see her public support of Trump as opportunistic, with the goal of using Trump's backing to strengthen her own position, especially in light of the ongoing federal investigation. The examination speaks to broader public issues that Dalton residents are experiencing as they are irritated by claims of corruption and a lack of transparency in local government. Henyard's acts, according to Owens, show a self-centered commitment that shifts alliances based on political expediency rather than. As this story progresses, the response of Dalton's officials and citizens may lead to a wider conversation about the importance of moral leadership and the dangers of unbridled authority. If Owens' accusations are true, the study here demonstrates the complex relationship between local politics and individual leadership styles, highlighting the urgent need for responsibility and reform in Dalton. Community Voices is calling for an investigation and transparency. That brings today's video to a close. Keep checking back, and we'll see you at the next one. Determine the political climate of the town for the ensuing years by either solidifying Henyard's hold on power or sparking a movement for democratic accountability and reform.